for coming in today. My name's Emma. Now, the sheets that I've given you to sign, one is client confidentiality. So that basically means that whatever you and I talk about will remain between you and I. It's not the information, I'm not going to go and talk to my colleagues or my family at home about it. It'll stay between you and I. And the other one is a release of client information. So if I think that you would be better off to go and see a psychologist, if I think that the issues that you've come to me with are a little bit beyond my scope, then that form just says that you agree for me to give your information to the relevant people. Okay. So I'll get you to sign those, and you can fax them back to me when you get a chance, and then we'll start the session.
Wonderful.
So what's brought you in today?
So what's brought me in today is I'm now almost about to have my second baby.
Mm-hmm.
After I had my first daughter, I thought I kind of had the usual baby blues sort of symptoms, but it was only now that I'm pregnant again that I've realized that I think I had postnatal depression or postnatal anxiety, because my baby blues kind of lasted for months and not, a couple of days or a couple of weeks.
Okay.
With my oldest daughter, my pregnancy was a breeze. Her labor was pretty good. Her shoulder got stuck in my pelvis, and that was the only bad thing that happened. But the doctor just pressed on my belly, and everything was fine, and she unlodged herself.
Okay.
But this time, because of that, I have to have a cesarean just to reduce that risk.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm nervous about having a baby in a hospital that won't allow me to bring in my oldest child. And because of the whole COVID situation, I'm only allowed to have my husband there.
Yeah.
That's making me a bit nervous, because there has been multiple cases of corona at that hospital. I'm worried that I'm either going to get it while I'm in labor or while I'm there, or that my child's going to get it and then I'm going to have to leave them at the hospital. Is my biggest concern.
Okay. So has this pregnancy gone smoothly as well as the last one?
I think so. Like I've had a much worse time with morning sickness, and I had a little bit of bleeding in the beginning, but like nothing. I've not had any like early labor signs, or like I've been able to work continuously. Like I'm currently working from home, but I feel like everyone's working from home at the moment.
Yeah, that's right.
Which actually has been a lot better. I can just do my work in bed now and not have to.
Yeah, it's a little bit more relaxing.
Yeah, but I'm due to finish work next week.
Okay.
I'll go on maternity leave at the end of next week. But my pregnancy's been fine. I'm just more worried that I'm going to get postnatal anxiety or postnatal depression. And that I'm going to be so busy with my oldest child that I'm not going to pick it up, or that my husband's not going to realize, and he's just going to think that I'm just crazy busy with my first one, because I know that there is a huge step up from having one child to having two.
Yeah.
And that's what my biggest concern is that I'm going to have these feelings again and not really realize it in myself, because I had my oldest child 3 years ago now, or almost 3 years ago now. I'm only now just realizing that there was lots of warning signs that I did have, and did have depression. But I also feel like I may have had anxiety because I didn't want my child to be looked after by anyone else other than me, and I would get really like nervous leaving her to just do the groceries, or when she was almost 1, I left her home with my husband for the first time, to get a present for my husband for our anniversary. And just the whole time I got in the car and I was in the driveway, I just wanted to just burst out into tears, and I hadn't even left her yet.
Yeah.
And I feel like that probably was that should have been like a sign, and I'm only just realizing now that there was a lot of signs there. And
It sounds to me like it's the feeling of not being the one that's in control.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you feel like if something happens and you're not there, you know, that if it's your fault, you can be the one to fix it. But if you're not there and something happens, then you feel like that's your fault.
Exactly. And I'm just worried that those feelings are going to kind of overwhelm me when I have two. I think I'm just more worried that because I wasn't picked up on the first child, it's going to happen to me with the second child.
Yep.
And it could even be worse. I think that's just kind of the fear of the unknown. Like, if I'm so protective over one child, how am I going to be when I have two?
Yeah. Okay, so when you came to the realization that you could possibly be suffering from postnatal with your first child, did you go and see somebody, or has it only been recently?
So I only realized it probably when, I think even when we first started trying for the second baby, I think I kind of realized that there were some signs there. But I do have to say, I think when my daughter was about 18 months old, so probably like a good year before, probably like a good, half a year before we started trying, I just woke up one day and I was just like, I don't feel like this is what, like, not a new mum, because I was like an 18-month-old there, but I kind of just was writing in her baby book about her first month, her second month, and everything. I was doing her 18-month page, and I kind of just sat there and I was like, I don't feel like this is what a new mum should be feeling. I don't think I should be feeling that I have to protect her and I have to be with her 24/7.
Yeah.
And I kind of just was thinking about like the first few weeks, and I know that on one of the mums was like, oh, I had baby blues on the third day, and then probably by the fifth day I was feeling fine again, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I think I got that probably within 48 hours, and then I feel like I didn't leave me until probably about 17, 18 months when I realized that I shouldn't be feeling like that.
Yeah, so you've been dealing with this for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, just from what you've told me with your previous pregnancy, that your current pregnancy now, the difference is that you have been very sick during this pregnancy. You know, there's been a few differences between this one and your previous one. Do you think that could have something to do with your increase in anxiety during this pregnancy? That the last one was a lot easier?
Yeah, I think it's more like I'm having a cesarean, and I know that I'm gonna have to be away from my child for at least 48, my oldest child for at least 48 hours. And like I know that there's the same risks of like your child being in the special care or even NICU after you have a vaginal birth and a cesarean. Is pretty much the same risk of like your child ending up there. But I think it's just because my first child was like a textbook labor, apart from the shoulder being in shoulder dysphoria. I can't even say it.
The shoulder getting stuck.
Yeah, her shoulder getting stuck. And that I didn't realize that was such a big thing until after. I think it's just because I've never had surgery before. That's also like another thing.
It's all a lot to deal with, and it's all a lot to think about.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of better now that they told me that I'm going to have a cesarean instead of trying and then having to end up with an emergency cesarean. So I think I'm mentally preparing myself for that, but it's still like it's major surgery, and
yeah.
and they're like, you can't drive for 6 weeks, you can't lift anything for 6 weeks, and I'm like, my 3-year-old is not gonna let me not be able to pick her up for at least 6 weeks. And I think you're not allowed to pick them up for 12 weeks, but you can start working out from 6 weeks, or depends on how you're feeling. And that just kind of is just crazy to me, because my husband only has 2 weeks off of work, and I'm on my own for a month until I'm meant to be doing things. But I also don't want to push myself too hard.
Yeah, that's right. So it sounds like you are very nervous.
I'm extremely nervous.
It's really I can see that it's weighing on you.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, how would you feel about going and seeing a psychologist if need be? Someone in the field that's more suited to the significance of what you're dealing with.
I feel like if that's going to help me, then I think I would. But I just feel like at the moment, I don't feel like I need to speak to anyone. I just don't think like I need to speak to a psychologist at the moment, because I feel fine. I know that I'm not at risk to myself or anyone else. I think I'm more worried.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. I think I'm more worried that I'm gonna like finish talking to you and then like be like 3 months down the track and just be like, oh, there was lots of signs there where I should have seen someone, or I'm gonna get to that point where I just feel like I'm at that stage and not have anyone else to talk to. I think that's my biggest concern, is that I'm gonna get through these issues that I need to get through, and then realize after everything's all done that I probably should have seen someone. I think that's my biggest concern.
Well, that's okay. That's that's what I'm here for. And you've been very brave in making the decision to come and see someone, especially so close to you, delivering your second. You should be proud of yourself that you've had the courage to come and start dealing with these issues before having your second baby. I think that's a really brave thing to do. And we will delve further into the specifics of when these things started and little things that we can do to help you cope better with the situation.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, wonderful.